Well, I've mentioned in my previous videos how there's a connection to Nathan in the dates here. The 7th of February will be 9 years since Nathan died, and this is part of a prophecy that is the prophecy of Nathan and Jacob, an Australian boy and an American boy. So it's coming up to 9 years since Nathan died. Nathan also had a connection to Darwin, and he had a connection to Kinglake near Melbourne. Both places get a mention in this weather report, and today is Tuesday the 30th of January 2018, so tomorrow is the next date on my list of dates. And Nathan was 13 years old.
Is a severe weather alert.
3 fires are burning out of control right now across the Southwest Land Division. One of them is in Subiaco. There's a watch and act there, very close to Kings Park. A fire is still trying to be controlled, and it is threatening around that Subiaco region. The other one is in the city of Swan. Now, fires are burning out of control, moving in a westerly direction right now. There's an emergency warning issued for the city of Swan. It's burning towards the Burgess region. And then in the southwest here, around that Margaret River, Augusta region, there's also a separate emergency warning for the Shire of Augusta. Now, this is burning around the Bustle Highway. It's burned over 80 hectares so far and continuing to be largely out of control because all of these fires burning in fairly inaccessible locations, excluding that one in the Subiaco area. Now, take a look at the latest temperatures on screen. It's not hot as yet. It's 17 degrees in Cape Leeuwin, Bunbury 15, Perth only 17 degrees right now. It is going to be getting much hotter today, but it isn't the worst fire danger we've seen, and you can see that humidity is relatively high, moderate high humidity for some of these locations, and as a result, you don't really expect fires to start in these sort of conditions. Winds are dry and they're burning offshore, and as a result, we'll mostly see those winds burn, or those fires burning in a westerly direction. Now, we had this tweet a little bit earlier from the DFES, and this was with that emergency warning, but again, there's a separate emergency warning for the city of Swan and a watch and act also for the Subiaco suburb in western parts of Perth. Now, let's take a look what that temperature forecast is going to be today, because it's getting hot. The west coast set to see temperatures 40 degrees plus. Now, most of the winds for most of the day is going to be burning in a westerly direction. Towards the afternoon, we'll see a slight southerly shift. Notice how we see that slight southerly shift in them? That's going to be causing those fires to burn in a more northerly direction towards this afternoon. Now, we always wonder about the Fremantle Doctor, that sea breeze once it comes in, but it doesn't quite look like we're going to be getting a strong sea breeze. So that fire in Subiaco or western Perth may continue burning in the same direction. So there's good news there. Consistent winds for firefighters, but unfortunately, those winds will just be getting gustier into the late morning and early afternoon as the day heats up. And of course, temperatures will also be getting hotter and it will be drying out as well. So the fire danger just getting worse and worse as the day goes on. But mind you, we're not at the worst fire danger. There's no fire weather warnings across this region, but we do have those fires burning out of control. Now, meanwhile, for the north of the country, a very active phase of the monsoon is leading to flooding rain right across the Kimberley and the top end, and even for some parts of the Queensland Peninsula. But there's severe weather warnings, heavy rainfall, damaging winds across the top end, including the Darwin and Tiwi Islands region. We've seen some absolutely huge totals since 9 a.m. yesterday morning, over 100 to 200 millimeters, fairly widespread in this area, and that has resulted in flash flooding and also river flooding. There's a major flood warning for the Daly River, and as such, residents have been evacuated. But flooding is also occurring over roads and infrastructure on the Adelaide and Elizabeth River. So if you're driving through these regions, it is going to be quite dicey. Remember, if it's flooded, forget it. We also have a tropical low embedded in the monsoon trough, and that's bringing heavy rain around the Broome area. Broome, over 300 millimeters since 9 a.m. yesterday morning, the heaviest rain there in over 20 years, and it's still coming down. The latest radar frames have that bands of heavy rain circling around outer layers of that tropical low, continuing to impact western parts of the Kimberley, including the Broome region, and very gusty as well. Winds overnight gusted over 100 kilometers an hour and still gusting over 90 kilometers an hour, nearly 340 millimeters since 9 a.m. yesterday morning. And we've also seen rainfall totals over 100 millimeters across the top end, including the Darwin area, which in the last week alone has seen close to half a meter of rain. In fact, over half a meter of rain, currently sitting on about 139 millimeters. Here's some rainfall forecast. Showers, storms, areas of rain set to continue for the rest of today across this region. Also a damaging surf warning current for the coastal fringe of the top end, including the Tiwi Islands and around the Darwin Harbor region. And it's because those gusty westerly monsoon winds, well, they brought some pretty big surf with them, and it could lead to localized pockets of coastal erosion. Turning our attention now to Tasmania, here's that band of rainfall. This has been enveloping the state. A very wet night indeed. It was some places that received over 50 millimeters in the east, St. Helens region around that 20 to 40 millimeter mark. And a severe weather warning for heavy rainfall extends across the Gippsland and the northeast regions, including Falls Creek, Baw Baw region, and around the Mansfield, Traralgon, and right up to the Sale areas as well. Heavy rain is conducive for flash flooding, and we've seen totals over 14 millimeters overnight, and that has been just due to this band of rain. Melbourne getting 39 millimeters, but we have seen those totals over 40 millimeters. Now, this is at least coupled with the cooler change that's come through, so we do have that going for us. However, around the Melbourne area, those sort of rainfall totals do lead to flash flooding, so a fairly wet start to the day, that morning commute, although it does look like the worst of the rain has passed you. Here's the rainfall forecast on screen. Maybe just a few showers from Melbourne, eastern parts of Victoria, southern New South Wales getting pretty heavy rain, including that Albury-Wodonga area towards the afternoon, and then the ACT towards the late afternoon, including the Canberra area and the southern slopes of New South Wales. Now, at least it's brought that cooling. You can see Hobart on 13.5, Melbourne on 16. To the north of the trough, which is bringing that band of rain, still hot. 25 degrees in Griffith, 30 degrees in western New South Wales and Queensland. And as we go into central and northern Queensland, it is still pretty hot around these regions as well. The change is going to be bringing some nice cooling. You can see those southerlies behind the trough, separating the hot, humid northerlies just ahead of it, and you can see that temperature difference. So today, at the very least, western New South Wales, south of about the Ivanhoe region, and around that Riverina area, getting that cooler change.
And I'm about to go to work in Canberra, so I'll catch you later.